All right, y'all. Got some pretty big breaking news to discuss with you. Puck News is reporting that Biden may have a primary challenge. All right, so let me give you the specifics. This is from Tara Palmieri. She says, last week in my piece titled Biden's Inevitability Mythology, I reported on one of the more amusing Washington parlor games of late, the fact that a number of leading Democratic figures like Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker are paying diligent lip service regarding their fealty to the president while quietly amassing political organizations of their own in preparation for the possibility that Joe Biden suddenly decides not to run, or if another challenger breaks the seal, which would open the dam. Since then, I learned that Marianne Williamson, the spiritual activist and 2020 candidate, has been actively making significant moves toward challenging Biden. All right, so let's get to that in a second. Well, I'll give you the specifics here in a second. But to the Gavin Newsom and J.B. Pritzker point, look, those are loyal corporate establishment Democrats. And so they are not going to pull the trigger on a presidential run until they get the okay. Until the higher-ups say, okay, son, you're next in line. Go ahead and take your shot. So, yeah, they may be, getting together an organization behind the scenes, but the fact of the matter is, unless Biden steps aside, they're almost certainly not running. And even if somebody else steps in to challenge Biden, I still think they would probably wait until it's, quote-unquote, their turn. Okay, so here's what they say about Marianne Williamson. At a party in L.A. last month, Williamson spoke about her position against corporate Democrats and the need to challenge Biden. Two very reliable sources have also told me that Williamson has already put out feelers to donors and secured an exploratory committee campaign tab on Act Blue. So for those of you who don't know, that means that basically you have small dollar donor infrastructure set up now. She has visited New Hampshire, South Carolina, and Iowa before the decision to nix Iowa from the primary lineup. She's already trying to build an operation in South Carolina where staffers are reaching out to former Bernie Sanders alumni to see if they're game. Williamson declined to comment. So, look, I mean, based on this article, it's not 100% definitive yet, right? And, I happen to know very well from behind the scenes in personal conversations. I know she's considering a run. Again, this isn't 100%, but there's a lot of really, really good signs here. Okay, now, look, when it comes to Biden, I said it before, I said it a million times, and I'll say it again. I'll give him credit when he does good things. And, I pride myself on the fact that I've been more nuanced than most in going through his record with a fine-tooth comb and telling you the good parts and telling you the bad parts. I do my best to not be what I like to call a narrative humper, which is somebody who makes the same stale point over and over and is like allergic to nuance. No, I like to dive into the nuance. So there are times I've been complimentary of how Biden has done now, or of what Biden has done. Now, the reality is I expected absolutely nothing from him, though. So, the fact that he's doing better than I expected is like saying he's doing better than herpes, or he's doing better than John Wayne Gacy, right? So, do I actually want somebody to challenge him? Absolutely, I do. Absolutely, I do. And I think Marianne would be wonderful for that. Because look at what happened in 2016 and 2020 with the Bernie Sanders runs. He changed the conversation. He shifted the Overton window. He's the one who came up with basically the policy purity test that every other Democrat was measured next to. And ultimately, that's a good thing. There's no way that Biden would have done even the limited student loan debt reduction that he did if it wasn't for Bernie 2016 and Bernie 2020. He changed the conversation completely. And so we need somebody to be the standard bearer. We need somebody to lay out there like, look, this is the ideal. This is what we're going for. And if, your run-of-the-mill Democrat doesn't live up to this, well, that's a fucking problem and that needs to change. So Marianne running can put Medicare for all front and center, free college front and center, eliminating all student loan debt front and center, eliminating medical debt, put that front and center, living wage, unionization, ending the wars, go down the list. She could be the one to shift the conversation and to pressure Biden from the left. And look, with this political climate, you never fucking know what's going to happen, man. You never know what's going to happen. Biden could literally croak while on the campaign trail, right? The fact that Donald Trump became president in 2016 means you could throw out the entire political rule book, the strategy book of like, you got to do this and do that, and then eventually everything falls into place and you become president. No, there are no rules anymore. So somebody who leads with a clear vision of a social democratic future for this country, I think that's exactly what we need right now. So, look, if she does jump in, she has my 100% support, and I hope you guys would back her up too. She is way closer to my politics than Joe Biden or your standard run-of-the-mill corporate Democrats. I think there's basically a 0% chance of Biden trying to primary Bernie, of Bernie trying to primary Biden, whereas, Marianne very well may have the stones. She may have the stones to jump in and say, you know what, fuck it. What's the worst that can happen? And that's how everybody needs to think about this. What is the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Okay, you lose, and then what? Sun rises the next day, and everybody goes about their business, and we fight on. But like, if the worst that can happen is you lose after you remind everybody about ending corruption and Medicare for all and a living wage and free college and all the policies we need to fix this country, well, just the fact that those good ideas were given another boost, were talked about more, that alone makes it worth it. So, hashtag run Marianne run. I don't know, we might have to work on that. That's a little bit of a sloppy, messy hashtag, but we'll come up with something. I hope she does it. This is certainly evidence that she's going to do it. It's not proof yet. We have to wait until, it's conclusive, but I like what I see.